We'll start by making the chalupa shells. Combine 2½ cups of flour, 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and secret ingredient number 1, 1/2 tablespoon of sugar. Then using a whisk, mix up the dry ingredients, leaving a small well in the center. Then add 1 cup of whole milk. Yes, it should probably be whole milk. Then 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Next, we'll just go in hands first and start to mix all of this together. It's going to start out as a super shaggy mess, but just keep pressing and pushing it together until you have a nice cohesive ball. From there, we can start kneading it for about 5 minutes, just using the palm of my hand. I like to let it rest after that first 5 minutes, just so the dough relaxes a little bit. Then we can go back in and further knead until it's nice and smooth, just like this. We can set the dough back in the bowl to rest while we prepare the ground beef. So I'm using an 80-20 ground beef, meaning it has a 20% fat content. You can use a leaner beef if you like, but I do think the fattier meat does taste better. Once the beef is about halfway cooked, add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Give that a good mix until it's all worked in, while continuing to break up the beef. Now for the seasonings. Add 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1½ teaspoons of cumin, 1½ teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and secret ingredient number 2, 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch. Then top all of that off with about a ½ cup of beef broth. All of this together is going to make a nice, rich, flavorful, juicy ground beef filling, just like Taco Bell. Mix until well combined, then we'll finish that off with a little pepper and salt to taste. That meat is looking great. Set that aside for now, we'll come back to it. Alright, back to the shells. Pinch off a 1½ to 2 inch size ball. I usually get around 6 decently sized shells from this recipe, but you can make them smaller and thinner if you like, but I do prefer them a bit thicker. Then I'll take one of the balls and just start pressing it into a small disc. I'll then use a rolling pin and begin flattening it out to about a 6-inch circle. Flip it over. I like to adjust it with my hands a little bit, kind of like pizza dough. We can give it a few more rolls, and that should work. The next part is super important. You must poke holes in the dough. The air has to be able to escape, otherwise it'll just turn into a balloon. Alright, so once your vegetable oil has been heated to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, carefully add in the dough. After about 15 or 20 seconds, it should start to rise to the surface. Give it another 30 seconds or so, then using tongs, grab both sides and pinch the ends together, almost until they touch. Hold this position in the oil for about another 30 to 45 seconds until the shell holds itself in place. From there, we can just start rolling it around, letting it cook evenly on all sides for about another 2 minutes or so. Altogether, they should take about 3½ to 4 minutes, give or take, depending on the size of your dough. Once it turns a nice, even golden brown all over, carefully remove, shaking off any excess oil, then transferring directly to a cooling rack, preferably lined with paper towels. Repeat the same process for the rest of the dough. Now, all that's left is to fill these shells with ground beef and toppings of your choice. In the spirit of Taco Bell, we'll prepare them just like they do. I'll add a layer of beef, followed by a layer of sour cream, lettuce, tomato, and a combination of cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese. And that's pretty much it. Taco Bell style chalupas right from the comfort of your own kitchen. Of course, you can always adjust the toppings to your preference, but I think they're pretty great as is. As always, ingredients will be in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching.